Very good morning. Today we are going to start on another one type of parts of a speech, because last class we discussed there are 8 parts of a speech: noun, pronoun, like this. Okay, noun we discussed and its types also we discussed. Today we are going to start pronoun. Then what is a pronoun? Pronoun in where we use in a sentence, wherever we are using a noun to replace that noun, or instead of a noun, whatever the words we use, those are called as a pronouns. What is a pronoun? Pronoun are the words which used instead of a noun. With example we are going to discuss. First one, Lakshmi writing a letter. In this sentence, Lakshmi is a noun. It's a particular noun. Then Lakshmi, female gender. In place of Lakshmi, we use a pronoun she. She writing a letter. This is a pronoun. In place of a noun, whatever we are using, or instead of a noun, whatever we are using, that's called as a pronoun. Another one example. Raju drank a tea. Raju, male gender. He drank a tea. These are examples for pronouns. Whatever the words we are using instead of a noun, those are called as a pronouns. Now we are going to discuss types of a pronoun. Lot of types are there in pronoun. Okay, in that first one we are going to discuss. Personal pronoun. We are discussing about pronoun. There are several types of pronouns are there, but we discuss only personal pronoun. In personal pronoun, again several forms are there. Forms are there. What are those? First person, second person, third person. First person, what it explains? Whatever I am talking, I am speaking. Whatever the person speaking in a sentence, it explains about that person. Whatever the person is speaking. For example, he drank a tea. What he is doing? That's Raju drank a tea. We studied one example. Raju drank a tea. He drank a tea. Means first person. Then second person, to whom spoken. In a sentence, to whom spoken. There are 2 persons are there. To whom spoken to. One person is speaking to another one person. To whom spoken. Next, third person, spoken about. Means what matter is going to discuss in that sentence. The conversation is going between 2 persons. What they are spoken and what matter they are discussing. Spoken about. What matter they discussed. That's a spoken about. First person, second person, third person. In first person also singular and plural is there. Second person also singular and plural is there. Third person, in that also singular and plural is there. With the help of chat, we are going to discuss about first person, second person, third person. We are discussing personal pronouns. In personal pronoun, first person singular, I. Singular what? I. And plural, we. What we use? We. Then second person, you. Here also in plural, you. Singular also you, plural also you. Then third person, what we use here? He, she, it. Then in plural, they. In plural, what we use? They. One by one, we have to discuss. We are going to discuss first person in singular and plural, second person in singular and plural, third person in singular and plural. These things we already discussed, but in subjective only we discussed. We not discussed in objective and possessive. One by one, we have to discuss all these things. All these things. First of all, in singular, subjective, what we used? I. What we used? I. Then plural turns into we. I turns into we. Then in objective, singular turns into me. Singular turns into me. Then plural turns into us. Plural turns into us. I, me, objective. Then plural, we, us. Possessive. What do you mean by possessive? Possessive means it shows the ownership. What it shows? Ownership. Whatever the things owned by a person, it is a ownership. That's why possessive means ownership. Okay. Then first person singular in subjective I, objective me, and in possessive my. The book is what? It's a my pen. It's a my book. Ownership. My. Then mine. What? Mine. It's a mine. That book is mine. Okay. Mine shows a ownership. That's why in first person singular, subjective I, objective me, possessive my and mine. Then in plural, subjective we, objective us, and possessive our, are ours. Our are ours. Our are ours. Say once again. First person, plural, subjective we, objective us, possessive our, ours. Our, ours. Then second person singular. Second person singular. What we use? You. What we use? You. Plural also you. Then in objective, there also you. Here also you. Okay. Then second person singular. Your are yours, because ownership. Your are yours. Your are yours. Like that only in plural also. Your are yours. Your are yours. Your are yours. Then third person singular. He, she, it. He is a male gender. She, female gender. It's a material. Then in objective, he turns into him. He turns into him. She turns into her. She turns into her. It. There is no change. As it is it. As it is it. He changes in objective. Subjective, he, she, it. These are singular in third person. Then he turns into him. She turns into her. It. There is no change. Here also it. In objective also it. Then where in possessive, ownership, he turns into him. Him turns into his. In ownership, him turns into his. Okay. Then her turns into hers. Her turns into hers. Okay. Then next, what? Plural form. What we are going to discuss? Plural form. Okay. In plural form, singular he, she, it. In plural form, they. It changes into what? In subjective, they. Then in objective, what it turns? Them. In objective, them. Then in possessive, their. In possessive, their. Are theirs. are theirs. For we only studied a chart. We are discussing pronoun. In pronoun, kinds of a pronoun are there: first person, second person, third person. In first person, second person, third person, all they have a singular and plural forms of a words. Plural forms of a words. In subjective, what? Singular I, plural we in first person. Second person, in singular you, second person, plural you. Third person, subjective, singular he, she, it, and plural they. Plural they. But in subjective to objective, this word changes. The form of word changes. I turns into me, we turns into us, you turns into you turns into you, then he turns into him, she turns into her, it turns into as it is it, then they turns into them. Then subjective to possessive, I turns into me, me turns into my or mine, then we turns into us turns into our or ours, possessive ownership. Then you turns into you, then in possessive yours or your. Then plural form also you, your or yours. Then third person, he turns into him turns into his, she turns into her turns into hers. Then it as it is it as it is it. And another one change is there. What? For example, it I not explained here, because in third person singular, he, she, it, he turns into him, she turns into her, it turns into it. In possessive form, him turns into his, her turns into hers, it turns into its, it turns into its. Then plural form, they, them. In possessive form, their, theirs, their, theirs. Okay, these are the pronouns. Different kinds of pronouns we use in a sentence with the help. Okay, now we are going to discuss examples for pronouns in first person, second person, third person, and singular form, plural form. Okay, those singular forms in subjective, objective, possessive. Plural forms in subjective, objective, possessive. One by one we have to discuss. First one example is I am a cowboy. I am a cowboy. See, here I is a pronoun. Here I is a pronoun. Means first person. First person singular. Okay, it comes under subjective. It comes under subjective. Subjective form of a word. I is a singular. Where it comes? It comes in subjective form of a word. Then in second sentence, we are in a happy mood. We are in happy mood. Then here we is a pronoun. Then we also comes under first person. We also comes under first person, but plural form. It is also in subjective. Next, she. Next one, she. She. It is a pronoun. She is a pronoun. Where it comes? In third person. And it is also singular. Single person. She is a single person. Singular. She is a singular. Then it is a subjective. It is also subjective. See, I, we, she. All these three words are coming in. These are which type of which forms of words? Subjective forms of words. And this is a singular. This is also singular. This is also singular. Oh, sorry. We is not singular. We is a plural. Okay. She is a singular. Then this is our school. This is our school. Here, school is a pronoun. Here, school is a pronoun. Then it also comes under first person. It also comes under first person. Then plural form. Which form? Plural form. And I said for you, whatever the ownership, words show what they are showing. They are showing the ownership. Our means it's a ownership, means it's a possessive. It's not subjective, it's a possessive. It's a possessive. Okay. I is a pronoun, we is a pronoun, she is a pronoun. In forms, we have to first person, second person, third persons, and it comes under subjective or objective or possessive. That's we are going to discuss. Okay. Then our finished. Our is a possessive and plural form of a word, third person. Next, its. Next, which one? Its. Its comes under third person. It is also pronoun. Comes under third person, and it is a singular form of a word, possessive. Singular form of a word, possessive. Then next one, which one? This bicycle is mine. Mine is also singular, first person, singular, first person, and possessive, because it's showing the ownership. That's why it is mine is also possessive. Okay. Then next, that's a mine. That's a mine. Same. What? Singular, first person, possessive. Singular, first person, possessive. Your bike. Your bike. Your comes under second person. Your comes under second person. Depend upon sentence. It is a singular or plural. Here your bike. Bike is only one. That's why your is here singular. Your pants. Your pants. Several pens are. Then next, depend upon sentence, singular or plural, we decide. Your. The next one, you are engineer. You are engineer. Here your is a pronoun. Here you is a pronoun. You, second person. You is a second person. You are engineer. Then singular. You are engineer means singular. Depend upon sentence, what it shows? It shows singular form. Then next, this is her desk. This is her desk. Her comes under third person. Comes under third person and singular form. Her, possessive. She, it's a subjective. Third person. She is a subjective. Then possessive. Her. Her or hers. This desk is hers. This desk is hers. Or this is her desk. Okay, possessive form. Means it shows the ownership. Here, pronoun is a her. Like this, you take several sentences. In those sentences, you round up the pronouns and find out they are in singular form or they are in plural form. They are subjective or they are objective or they are possessive. Find out. Try to move. Try to solve some more examples like this. In the next class, we are going to discuss more about pronouns. Thank you.